So good evening, welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne. We're live here once again in the Full Speed Events studios, deep underground, and we will be bringing you all of the action in just a moment. Before we do that, a massive thank you to everybody who's joined the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, and looked after some of the costs that Russ and I incur, and we get when we get the Chaingang up and running, not just the broadcast, but also all of the ticketing and all the work that we do behind the scenes. So a big thank you to everybody who's done it. We like to say thank you to everybody, and of course that means we need the help of a few key people. They're all just up there. People like 1080, Gritty, Nonners, Veliskid, Halo, Continental, and of course OTE. And it is OTE who are back with us to the end of April, which is the end of this season. Boo hiss, I know. But do you know what? We've got lots on this summer, so really looking forward to being able to probably meet quite a few of you in person as well. So let's head over and let's find out where we're going first of all. On our route, well, it's London Loop with Box Hill finish. You've been able to read that on the top of the screen for a while, but the route is a fairly familiar one to most people, I'm sure, on the Chaingang. London Loop actually is the number one route. It's the very first route designed in London, and it takes in all of the key sections that take you around Box Hill, so essentially the easiest loop to do Box Hill in. You come out from the start, turn right, go through the archway, go around the loop, basically into Trafalgar Square, down past the Houses of Parliament, taking a left-hand turn over the bridge and then going up on to Box Hill itself. We climb Box Hill twice as part of the loop and descend back to the start point, and then we do a part loop which finishes at the summit arch of Box Hill. So everybody will do 3 ascents, with the finish being on the 3rd ascent. And that means that you should have climbed 629 metres at that point. There'll then be a 2.7k warm down, which means that you can get those drops points on the way down as you warm down on the way down the hill. Russ will be leading. He's on his way in. Just had a message from Russ saying he's hot-footing it into the studio as we speak, and he's waiting for the final checks to go through, so he will be with you very shortly indeed. And don't forget, of course, that when we go round, Russ will be calling the shots. He leads the ride. The man checking out all of the riders and making sure that everybody's got a seat on the bus is your Royal Navy Royal Marine Cycling Association man himself. It is John Garfoot. And John, a very experienced red beacon for us, as well as rider on the Chaingang. So great to have John in on the gang. Now, we've talked very briefly about the summit and the climb. This is the view from the Velo Viewer graphic. This is our standard 3D graphic. This is in the same scale that we always use, so it gives you an indication of just how tough Box Hill is. We start basically bottom left hand corner. We work our way to the bottom right hand corner. We go along from Trafalgar Square through Whitehall, take a left hand turn, and then climb up. And as you can see, there's a lot of yellow in there, and that is because those gradients are approaching that 10% marker. It levels off, and in fact the actual summit arch comes basically directly below the word Zwift on the top right hand corner of the summit plateau. Then we travel along from right to left and go over the peak. Now, it sounds complicated. It's not, because what we've done, we've dropped in a 2D version for you. As you can see from this, we head out from the start. It's bumpy all the way to 6k. We start climbing on our way from 6k right the way past that 8k marker. At 9 kilometers, we'll hit the summit. That's where it turns from yellow to green. That is where the archway is. There is a further peak, a slightly higher section to Box Hill at 10k. That is not the finish line. As you can see, if you take a look and traverse across, follow the distance round, you'll see we do both hills. The first summit coming at 9k, the second time through underneath the arch is just under 24 kilometres, and then at just over 39k, you'll see that you have the finishes up on the plateau at the top of the hill, not on the very peak itself. So that gives you a good indication of where we are heading. We will also, of course, be doing our fantastic giveaway courtesy of the team at OTE. So we are going to be bringing you basically another giveaway. So OTE have got a fantastic range of products. They keep us rock and rolling on the way around the Chaingang and round everywhere. So it really is key that you keep fueled up, hydrated, and it's going to be quite a long one for some people tonight, so make sure you've got plenty of energy on board. To do that, make sure that what you do is get fueled up. OT are fantastic for that. If you're down in the pain cave or similar, or you're doing your fuel in solid form, then of course something like Hydro Tab is perfect, and there is a brand new launch of Pineapple Hydro Tabs, pineapple flavour Hydro Tabs, and they are going to be heading everybody's direction. So they're going to be going out, and hopefully people will be getting them and buying them. But if you're a member of the DCG gang, we are going to be bringing you some prizes, and it is one rider, one prize. So it's 1 in 39 chance for the people who have donated to the DCG gang. Right, the gang are on the way out of the pens, as you can see. I'm just going to keep a quick check. I think John Garfoot just shepherding everybody out. You can just see him across on your screen. So let's dive in with the riders. Let's say that they're all getting out of those pens. Okay, here on the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, live coming to you from the Full Speed Event Studios. So our riders up and away. We're in with John Garfoot at the moment, and we're just going to take a little bit of a check. It looks like John going out and away. A few people behind, but I suspect that they are all going to be riders that are going to be joining pretty quickly. Looks like Taylor just coming up on Garfoot here. Don't forget, if you end up more than about 30 seconds back, key is to make sure that you do the late join. That will bring you back in. Looks like Damien Warsdale just chasing on hard here, and I think going to be motoring his way up and in. So remember, make sure, guys, that you get yourselves in to the gang. If you're in that gang, the red beacon is on his way in. It looks like Russ at the moment still fighting to get on to the ride at the moment. So in the meantime, I'm sure everybody will behave themselves. Everybody knows how this works. Hold it together, stick around the beacons until we get ready to go. If you're watching live, if there's somebody in on the ride, and I'm sure there's a few people that are, if somebody could just stick up a message saying hold for red, and then Russ is on his way. Probably Mr. Mason, to be honest, because Gareth, one of our key riders, he actually did the standing roll for quite a long time on Tuesday and did a really good job. I was really impressed actually with Gareth's beacon duties, his yellow beacon, this one here. And of course on Tuesday we saw a fantastic ride by a certain Pete Drabble. He took the win and on the way through. It's Gareth Mason, one of the regulars on here. I did see on the board that there was going to be a high likelihood that there was going to be a ride by Mr. Mason 14 times up Box Hill. That's crazy stuff. Don't do it. Don't do it. Right, so John Garfoot on there. All aboard Doug Main. Come on, Doug. Keep up, buddy. We know Doug's going to be right up at the front of the ride. Here he comes. So keep going, John. Doug's just having a little dropout. So John going to be making his way on to the back. Please, guys, remember, if you are going to need the assistance of our beacon, particularly on this route, because it is a tough one, and we do know a few people will jump off early. If you need assistance, please shout out for the riders for the use of the bus. John Garfoot in charge of that bus, and obviously revving up and down from stopping and starting all the time puts a bit of wear on the system. So please, guys, make sure that you let me know if you do need a hand on the way through. So it's like Ryan Williams tucked in here, very interesting. Good to see Ryan on board. We've got Vin and Tracy here. Wayne Barr are here. Squires is here. Saturday for Gareth, for Rich Langmead to go up down the hillside. Looks like Mark Chamberlain just waiting to drop back in on a late join, so hopefully he's going to be heading straight across. John just chasing his way on, so our riders are up and moving, heading their way in through towards the edge of the embankment. And you can just see making the way in and along the Thames off to their riders' left hand side. The riders then will be taking the right-hand turn up on to the climb into the square. Love it. Tight is a tight thing with a special reason to be tight on the first time up, please, everybody. So Gareth Mason going to be jumping in. He's just holding the fort at the moment. Gareth, good news for you is that Russ is on his way. He's at the moment just throwing stuff at the computer and his computer system at the moment. But he will be with us shortly. So we've got Bobby Mason on board as well. Ben Cokin on here. And key thing on the way up and down is that everybody's together as you go up over the top of the hillside. That hill top, the actual peak at the very end of the summit of Box Hill, is a group breaker. It splits the group frequently, and that is because it's quite knife edge, so you're basically going straight up or straight down. And if there is quite literally a fag paper in between a bike, if there's that much gap in between our riders, that gap will open as the riders go up and over. So if you're on the front at the top of Box Hill, key thing in the group, back off. If you're at the back, that little bit of a squeeze will keep you in touch. If you get distance, the odds are you won't get back on again. And that's why it's so key on the first way over. Tough climb, tough route for our riders. By this time in the season, and we do choose the routes carefully, we get a little bit more of a difficult routes getting thrown in there, and that is just to test out our riders. That is because our riders get regularly better at holding the group together. The regular riding, riding on Swift, the regular riding on the Donny Chaingang, and of course generally after having a whole season on board, everybody knows the rules, everybody knows the score, and there are very few people for whom it is something new. Now, good news is Russ is about to make his way into the building. He's just doing a late join. Can't imagine he's going to try and sprint a 3.5k to get in. So here we go. The riders just coming into that right-hand turn. And just making the way up on to the climb. And it looks like Russ is in the building. So Russ back in with us. And it looks like John Garfoot climbing at the back of this group. Our yellow beacon is in there. Kept Russ hanging, waiting to drop in. And Russ back in with us. So the gang together. And looks like everybody in and aboard. And Gareth, thank you very much once again for stepping in to stand-in duties. Now, we did have a little bit of a joke about what we were going to call Gareth, who is known as the Fat Cyclist. You'll see on your screens him as the Fat Cyclist. Gareth, for those who don't know, was kind of good at playing rugby, like internationally good. So he's a bit of a beastie on there. So there have been a few names. And of all of them, I think my favourite is the Juggernaut, which came through. So the Juggernaut may well be Gareth Mason's name, although I did quite like a sort of a continuation of that, which was Optimus Maximus, was another one that came through after the big Transformer boss, who was like super quick, super tough, but changed from a truck, for those of you who've not seen the film. Nobody suggested Bumblebee, but it was Optimus Maximus for Gareth, or the Juggernaut. I quite like the Juggernaut though, because we've got the somethings, and all cool names are the somethings. If you've not seen the film The Commitments, then you'll know it has to be a the somethings for all the cool names. So, riders on the way through. Not sure whether Gareth or not will accept going beyond the Fat Cyclist to be the Juggernaut, but I quite like it, so you might get that whether you like it or not, mate. Right, Claire Jessup just sitting on the wheels of Keith Richardson. John Garfoot here just squeezing on this descent just to get back in touch. Claire, another of our regular riders. We go down past the Big Ben Bell Tower, down past the Clown House, and down past Westminster Abbey. And going to be taking a left-hand turn as we get to our next bridge. So coming sweeping through the group all together, looking good at the moment. Everybody all together going to be taking the left-hand turn on next bridge. At the moment, that gang working well all together, and everybody in that gang doing a great job. Everyone's staying together. 60 riders down on the register, as it were. So 60 riders down on and in. Not surprising really when we've got a bank holiday coming up. If you're planning on going out riding on the bank holiday, the forecast certainly around the South Yorkshire, East Midlands area is at the moment that tomorrow is going to be good. It's going to be nice. And Saturday's not looking bad. Sunday's looking okay-ish, and Monday's not looking so great. So get your miles in early. Plan on being out tomorrow. Not quite sure what, where, when, and how, but yeah, going to be a plan. Keith Richards. It's not widely known, but you can buy bear meat in Japan from vending machines. Love it. Paul Malin. You're going to the real Box Hill tomorrow. Wave at Gareth on the way around, Mr. Mason. Give him a wave as you go past. So the chat continuing. We're going to drop out and away from central London. We're going to drop down into the tube and head down the descent here. Just riding in with Mick Hawkins of Bolsover, just coming down. Short right-hand turn, and then a sharp left down onto the rails, boarded over for our convenience. And as we come through on the Chaingang, the group all together, this will magically transport us from central London out to the Surrey Hills, as if by magic. So the message is coming in, reinforcing what Gareth said. Steady way up Box Hill, please, folks. Keep it nice and smooth as we head in and through it. So hopefully our riders on the way up. They're going to be making the way up. We do have our generator working. Our giveaway generator is actually working and with us. So we will be giving away the OTE goodies in a while. Just always like to check it before we actually do it on the line. So that's going to be going out to you on the line as we go through. The riders sort of making their way up to the top at the moment. So make sure you keep your eyes on that. Let's double check it's still rolling. It's still rolling. This is always good. Roadblock time. DSM style, indeed. Tactics that didn't meet universal approval from some in the previous race. I'll let you watch the footage back. So at the moment the group pretty much all blocked together. Keeping together as we come round here is handy. But it's even more critical when we come in onto the peak. If you remember that Velo Viewer profile, this profile, and even more importantly, that profile, when we hit the peaky bit at the top, very top of that hill loop, that is where you need to be together. You need to be super tight as you go over the peak at the top. That way, you're not going to find yourselves running out of a road to close down the gap before you go into the steep section. I don't think I can actually zoom in enough on our map on the top right hand side of your screen to actually show any distance between the riders. This is an amazing thing. This is a very good thing. Here we go. Gang coming in. Look at that. Everybody coming in and through over the line nice and smoothly together. So through our riders go now, coming up in front of the riders. They're going to take this slight right-hand turn, and you're soon going to see that there's a little bit of a drop down here. This is where the bigger riders will be able to carry some momentum up on to the steep section of hill. We are making our way in towards the very peak of Box Hill at the moment. This is where everyone needs to go. If you're on the front, you need to be backing right off over the top of the next peak. You can see the tarmac coming up in front. And this is where it is absolutely key. So the tarmac ramps up. This is where the group needs to come all together, guys. You need to be as tight as a tight thing, as the saying goes. So, guys, super tight, super close. No gaps. Any gaps, if it's even big enough to get a fag paper in the gap, you will find that you have opened it up. If you're on the front, get off the front. If you're on the back, squeeze up. It really is key here. Any gaps on the front will open up the group and split it apart as it goes over. If we move our drone camera off to the side, you'll see as it levels out over the top here, and this is where those gaps will open. So really, really key, guys. Take the squeeze on at the back. Do not let those gaps go at the back. If you're on the front, do not chase down the hillside. Ease it right off. So hopefully the back and our red beacon is going to be coming on, and then getting the group in together. Let's take a little look at John, see how he's doing down here. So just taking a look, you can see on the screen those gaps opening. They were only fractional going over the top. You've got to keep this on the way down and keep it smooth. So into the descent we go. We're just riding in with John Garfoot and Andy Kayworth. They're chasing hard at the moment. You can see our lighter riders, people like Claire Jessups, Ryan Williams. They are in some of our lighter riders. They've got to keep pushing here to get back in with the pack. It has opened, not as much as necessary it always does, but you can see it's already spread out now well over 20 seconds. Spread from the front to the back of the group, and that is the effects of gravity on the way down this hillside. So here we go. This is the chase. Let's see if they can get themselves back in. It looks like there is a pack moving clear off the front, carrying a lot of momentum. So currently front to back, 34 seconds from the front to the back of the group. That's the time gaps from the front to the back of the group, 34 seconds at the moment. Which means that the front is going to be doing some waiting whilst the back squeezes on. So that chase coming hard at the moment. The group making their way up and together again. It's going to compress as we come in towards the escalator section. And that is where hopefully as we come over the top of that, we're going to see that front group easing off. The red beacon chasing hard at the moment. They're pushing 3.5 watts per kilo in that back group. That gap now at 25 seconds at the moment. And as we watch John Garfer, you can see the group going up on to the climb. So they're going to keep pushing, I'm sure, up on to this steeper section. 15% on here. Absolutely nasty if you don't take a run at it. So here we go. They're going to come up on to the top. Let's see what that distance is front to back. So it's down to 15 seconds. So this is where that regroup hopefully will occur. And these riders will keep on pushing. So time to push as you come over the top. If you're on the back of this pack, you can see the gang chasing at the back here. We're going to get everybody back together, I think, before we get into the centre of the bridge. That'll be almost record recovery of the gang after an ascent of Box Hill and a descent. Normally we're still split by the time we're heading round to the lap marker on the way through. But at the moment, it looks like that gang is going to come rolling in towards the far side of the bank. There's just a little bit of a gap between our red beacon group and the main pack. So look at this, the group coming together. That is just about making contact here. I think Claire just squeezing at the back here, jumping on the wheel of Scriven to get back in with the Scriven. They're going to try and pull the group back together again as they come in towards the lap marker, and in fact going down past the pens. We're going to try and jump in with the one and only Russ Downey if we can as we go in towards the line. We're going to be making our way around there pretty quickly. Easier said than done. I don't want to miss the boat on this one, because if we do, we're going to have a little bit of an issue when it comes to our giveaway. So, our giveaway today for OTE, the brand new pineapple flavoured hydro tabs. They're out. They're available. You can get hold of them very shortly. But more importantly, we're going to be giving away a triple pack of hydro tabs to our riders, along with bottle. They're going out to 8, one for each of the rides. 8 lots going out to our riders on the DCG gang, on the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. It's a 1 in 39 chance. The last winner was James Forbes on Tuesday. James not eligible today. When our riders go through and over the line, we're going to hit the stop button, and when we do so, that number will correspond to a rider who's a member of the DCG gang. So here we go. We're on our way in underneath the line. We're hitting it when Russ goes under, which is now. That is number 2, and that is going to be Tim Baggs. It's actually alphabetical order in surname this month. So Alan James, followed by Baggs Tim. So it's Tim Baggs, Congratulations to Tim Baggs. Tim, you are number 2, and in fact the second of our riders drawn at random. So there we go. It is another prize going out to the members of the DCG gang to say thank you very much, guys, for supporting us, and a massive thank you to the team at OTE, to Annie, to Max, and all of the gang. So going underneath the gantry of the start line, that's when we hit the button, and that pulled us up number 2. So well done to Tim Baggs. We'll be sending you out an email. You might be really looking at it early tomorrow. It might even happen tonight, depending on how long I'm out walking the dog for post-show. So there you go, riders on the way through. The gang looking pretty smooth on the way round, despite tech issues for some. There's 1 or 2 people just being distanced as we come up over the top at the moment. Yeah, on my screen, Russ, you've done 12.5k, mate, according to my screen. That's because you late joined. Anyone who didn't late join should be on 16.3. On Russ's, it's done a full 16k. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's because on Russ's screen he skipped it. It showed him how long to get to the end. It's a neat way where how we know who joined late. Because if you didn't join late, you got 16.5 on. If you joined late, you won't have 16.6. You will have. Let's find somebody. We've got to find somebody. 8.9 in the gang. Late join gives the group distance for the rider, but not for the rest of the group. On the scoreboard, it actually will tell you the number as you come through. Unless the updates changed it, which is possible, let's face it. So just riding in with Ben Kokin. Ben just making his way up in the middle of that group. Really good to see. Now let's take a little bit of a check in here. Looks like who's hanging around the back. Keith Richardson hanging around the back at the moment. Well, very nice of someone to drop. Is that Mr. Taylor dropping the anvil down on the flatlands? Thank you very much, sir. That's very kind of you. Yeah. Gareth saying no issues with the MacBook. No issues with the PC either. Although, admittedly, we are running on Windows 11 i7 processors and RTX 3070 graphics cards. So, basically, for those in the know, that's basically running pretty fast. And everything's at least 32 gig memory and a terabyte of storage. Minimum. Times umpty, times 5. So I'll let you, if you're a tech geek, you'll know that's going to motor. So we are in a lucky position where we're able to use it. Now, here we go. Well, so he's got no issues on his new bike this weekend. I should hope not. Very nice Pinarello for us. Pinarello F, I do believe. Vin Donny, slightly future-proof, Matt. There you go. Vin understands the specs. The aim is to be future-proof, and we will probably get about 2 years out of the kit, out of each of those. So it does mean that we'll turn them around. Right, okay. Interesting. So Vin Donahoe, yeah, Vin, we are rolling. The broadcast comes out to you at 60 frames per second at the moment, which is the maximum that we can run on across the 3 platforms. We can't take it any higher on now, otherwise we would do. Keith Richardson just chasing onto the back of the group, just yo-yoing around a little bit on the back. The riders at the moment just coming down Whitehall, down past Cenotaph, going to go through Parliament Square on the right hand side, Big Ben Bell Tower on the left hand side. So the riders motoring along at the moment. Only 44 kilometres now, and the gang moving well. Clearly not trying to ease off in the hope that they might have a bit of rest before they get into the second ascent of Box Hill. Remember, 3 ascents in total. So when we get to the top of Box Hill this time round, it will be 1 full lap to go. So it's like Russ back in with the group, motoring his way on back in again. Seeing the odd rider starting to be distanced here, actually, on the back of the group. Just going to keep an eye. Paul Simon, I just don't squeeze on. We know Paul going to be one of our quick riders. Dale Williams just hovering around the back of the bunch as we run into the climb. Just waiting to see how fast Russ is planning to get up this hillside. It's going to be very interesting. Looks like Mr. Williams just with a bit of a drop out there. So here we go. This is the back of the pack. So Russ playing on holding a slightly quicker tempo this time round. So we do expect, I would fully expect to see people coming off the back of the group in that case. And the question will be how soon will that bus form? It's going to form on the ascent this time, I suspect. So Russ going to hold a slightly quicker this time, quicker tempo this time round, quicker pace this time round. Wayne Barr again shouting, "I'm okay." I think he's going to find Paul Simon Knight chasing on behind, and Beefy from Cycleways on his way in and through. So the rest is aiming around 3 watts per kilo on the way up. So John, get ready, buddy. I think you are going to find a few people heading for the bus. Can see Beefy from Cycleways here. Beefy, let us know and put it on the message board if you're planning on just spinning your legs back in. I suspect you are. John Garford just rolling at the back of that group. John, keep rolling, buddy. Beefy just dropping down to 0 watts per kilo there. So John going to squeeze back up, I suspect. Wayne making his way up, Claire on their rut. But John getting ready to do some collecting on the way through. So John starting to get ready to punch some tickets. Meanwhile, the group squeezing with the plan to sit at about 3. This is going to do a bit of damage on the way up here. But remember, we are currently at 22 kilometres in. And don't forget, if you do lose the wheels, find a group, jump on. The red beacon will be sat waiting, and it will be making its way up. You can just see that pillar of red light just making its way on its way up and through. So Tom Lindley's first Donny Chaingang was on this route. There you go. You never forget your first DCG. Can you remember what route you were planning on doing? So Colin Bell just completely let us know. Thank you very much. So it's like Claire and John, the bus forming and on the way up the climb. Let's have a way up the ascent. So Tom Lindley drops in his first time through on the Chaingang. Probably not going to happen tonight. You never know. Everyone has good days, bad days. Could be a good day, could be a bad day. Some days you're the fly, some days you're the windscreen. Though these days, most of the time, he's definitely the windscreen rather than the fly, that's for sure. It's good to see chat going down on the bus, discussing distances and who's stopping and doing what. Fantastic to see. The gang not dropping too many people off the back at the moment as it rolls up here at 3 watts per kilo. That's an indication of just how well people have progressed. John just having a little chat with Claire Jessup there and just checking. So going to be on the way through. The riders just making their way up, so just sitting on the back of this group at the moment. Looks like it's going to be Jim Flynn and Carl Johnson. In there, Carl, of course, our man who is Red Beacon, or due to be on duty. I hope everything worked out okay at work. You were stuck and unable to get back out, so hopefully stretching your legs tonight. Don't forget, of course, if you want to get out in real life with other members of the gang, there are the meetups coming. Keith, Tracy and Ven all working hard to make sure that they got all the routes sorted. It's good to catch up with the gang on the way through. Had a chat with Vodka and Tonic, aka Ven and Tracy, on the riding at the cafe yesterday. So I looked at those routes. It's really good. Looked think everyone's going to have an absolutely cracking time on those. And of course, a return visit to Nonnas as well. All the dates are on the Facebook page, so become part of that Facebook group. Check out the post on there, and you'll be able to find where you're going, when heading out, what time everybody's meeting, and so on. So it looks like just been joined down in the studio. Indy the trail dog is back down here. You all right, Indy? No, yeah, getting some ears waving. Looks like Dumbo when he waves his ears, this dog. He's decided to come back down into the studio. So the rider's on the way round, just making the way up. One or two people just starting to drift. Looks like Keith Richardson just dropping back a touch. He'll be pushing onwards. Carl just off that group there, so I think Carl and John Goffert could well be getting together on the way through. Vin tucked in nicely on the back of the pack. This group climbing at a nice tempo at the moment. Rossas for 3, and they're all sitting in that 3 marker at the moment by the look of it on the way up. Let's see how together it is as we go up over the top. Remember, it is 1 lap to go at the summit of the climb this time round. 1 to go at the summit of the climb this time round. Carl Johnson out and racing at 7, so had to stretch his legs. Good to have you on the gang. Thanks for joining us. So it's like Keith and John just making a bit of a charge back towards the gang. Looks like the first person to see the bus just up the road. Looks like Claire going to be turning those legs around after having been out on the bike. Out in, I hope you had some sunshine today, Claire. So John and Keith making a bit of a march up. That's the person they're going to see is likely to be Mr. Flynn, who is just up at the just tucked. He's not all that far actually off the back of the group. Just see them just in front, but I suspect as we go over the top, that gap may well increase because of the dynamics going over the top of the hillside. So into this right-hand turn. This is our dress rehearsal for next time round into the finish. Remember that the summit arch, the Continental Arch, Continental, of course, one of the supporters of the members of the DCG gang, giving away a huge amount, well over £1,000 worth of tyres going out to members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, in their monster giveaway that happened in February. Say a massive thank you to Shelley and all the gang. Great to have them on board, and don't forget, of course, the summit here has that Continental Arch up, and that is when our riders are going up and through, and it's going to be 1 lap to go when they go underneath this archway. So just riding in with Mike Killingsworth here, and we're going to take this series of turns. It's a slight descent down past where the visitor centre is on the right-hand side. Then going to take the left-hand turn, and we'll be into that archway. So this is the summit. We're going to have 1 lap to go at the archway. Our riders approaching that fast. You can see it coming into shot on the main camera as well as on that map view. So as we go through, 1 lap to go. It is 1 lap to go. The question is now, with 1 lap to go and with 50 minutes on the clock for our riders who've been in from the start. You can see John Dixon, 25k on the miles. We've got 1 to go, and it is going to be really interesting to see what happens as we go in towards this climb. When is that trigger going to be pulled? When will Russ press the plunger? Looks like Chris Cannon just squeezing here to get back in with the pack before they hit the next descent. Keith's point to push is that run in. It looks like Keith Richardson's going to be charging. He's going to want to get on before the main pack go over the top of the climb. So Keith at the moment trying to get back on board. And after going back there onto the steeper section here, we're riding in with him. He's got Scriven on his wheels. They're going to come up to the back of the group, I suspect. Here they come. They're going to make contact at just the right time here. It's absolutely key to hit the back of the pack before that descent. They're going to just squeeze on up over the top now, and this is where you've got to watch out for those gaps on the way through, because any gaps will open very quickly indeed. So the squeeze needs to come from the back, because as you can see already those gaps starting to open up, and that is just going to be reinforced on the way down. So 52 minutes of riding from the start of the Chaingang, 26 kilometres or just short of for our riders underneath the wheels. Looks like somebody's going to be incurring the wrath of Mr. Mason. Could be one of our really light riders like Foxy. Foxy's like weighs like as much as a matchstick that's been dropped in the mouth. They're like wet through like nothing. Has to have scales in grams. Tell you something, this pack is motoring. The new dynamics are incredibly quick. I do talk quite a lot about gamification on and the go as well. The game is well and truly afoot. Go has gone. The pack basically together as they came down that descent. The go has gone. This is going to be interesting because it is going to really rip it apart. Look at it go. Few people throwing the anvils down at the lastminute.com there to try and use them on this descent down into towards the station. But they are pulling some serious pace down here as they motor the way in and through. Look at the profusion of power-ups that have been placed upon the riders as they head in towards the platforms. This is going to be an explosion as they come through, because as soon as those anvils wear off, as soon as the draft power-ups wear off, people are going to be having a tough day. Now, it looks like Mr. Mason is out. He's jumping out of the ride. It's not like he can't ride up here. I know you've got a big day tomorrow, buddy. Enjoy. Just riding in with Tracy. Come on, Tracy, big kick. Coming in here, motor up this. This is one of those steep, nasty rises. The elevators here, that 15% kicker can split the group if you're not careful. But if you sprint over it, you'll get yourself in touch pretty quickly. Unfortunately, that's what exactly everybody does on the way through. So just going to take a little bit of a look up the road. Looks like Dale Williams putting the pressure on, going hard early doors here. He's gone home. We're going to put a thumbs up, give him a ride on the way through. We love some attacking riding. The more aggressive, the better. Dale Williams doing a great job once again. So Dale on his way over Tower Bridge at the moment. Fortunately, Tower Bridge staying down, not lifting part way through. Looks like Lindley very aware of the threat of Williams, maybe looking to try and break clear. Well, it's got company. Looks like Hutchinson is not all that far away either. So this could be interesting. Williams, Hutchinson and Lindley. That's an interesting group of riders. If they got that together, those three riders, I wouldn't want to try and pull them back. That's a nice, handy group. Russ has seen the danger. He's trying to sprint across the gap here. This could be a group of 5. Look at the distance they're opening now. If Varty and Downing go across that gap, they're going to need to motor. But if they get on the wheels, that's going to be 5 riders in front. Come on, Russ, big kick time, buddy. This is where you're going to need it. Get that gap open to the guys behind. Are we going to have a breakaway up front? We are. Look at this. Hutchinson, Varty, Lindley, along with Williams and Downing. This is a group now. This is really going to put the cat amongst the pigeons behind, because I think this is big enough. If anybody hesitates here, they could be in trouble now. And what they're doing, they're looking at each other, I think, a little bit here. That leading group need to get the finger out and go. They've been given the opportunity. Now is the time to use it. This is the main pack. You've not got far before you head on to the climb for the final time. Remember, you've only got to get through London, and it's not exactly the fastest section. You're starting to see people drop down at the back, and there's got to be a response come. And I think Williams is going to put some big numbers, 600 plus watts to just come out from Williams. He goes across. That's going to make 6 riders if he can get there, but he's got to break clear. He's got to get away from that gravitational field that is the group behind. We know Ryan Williams is quick, but I think if that group in front can hold, they are going to motor. If they've got that group, it is destroying the pack behind. That pack behind is no longer a pack. It's breaking up. Look, you've got 5 riders here. You've got another, 8, 9 riders behind. They're in bits and pieces everywhere. It's absolutely destroyed it here. And it may well be that this group of 5 do get pulled back. We're going to take a little bit of a look to see whether or not they've got company. Ryan Williams has got across. So this is where they need to move. It's going to be 6 riders if Dale Williams can sit in here. 6 riders now. They've got Squires at 15, 18 meters back at the moment. Squires is in no man's land, is going to make this catch, and that is going to mean it's going to be 5 seconds back. So that's going to be about 85 meters or so. And the pace these riders are doing, Squires has got to get in with them. He's still got 20 meters to do, though. He's putting it in, and I think Squires has blown. He has. He's eased right off here, so it looks like Squires is not going to make contact. He's going to have to wait for the group behind. They're going to come sweeping up here. So looks like Squires not making the catch there, so that is going to be tough stuff for Ethan. He's now got to jump in with this group and not get distance, so he's going to kick in. So didn't make the catch there. Now let's see where they're going. So it looks like Dale Williams still coughing up a lung. He's going to work as much as they can. This is a breakaway and a half. What a move there. And they've jumped on. This is going to be 6 very strong riders. They've 10 seconds to the group behind here. If they can all work together, there's no shilly-shally. Nobody can afford to miss a turn, because behind there's some big names and some fast riders in that group behind. The group behind can see them. If we jump in with them, they can see that beacon not far in front. That is a catchable distance if they work well. And that is why you can see that the group in front need to work together. Nobody can afford to miss a turn here. Everybody needs to push. Oh, there's going to be real trouble, because they are going to get caught from behind. This is about getting the pacing right now. They've got to keep on moving. 10 seconds, 12 seconds of the gap at the moment. They can see what it is. It looks deceptively close, but at the moment, the group in front are going to have to take turns now. Let's see how they're going. Russ, if you can type, you're not trying hard enough. Get your finger out. Don't be typing. Get those legs going. Now, 13 seconds back. That chasing group are coming. It's the DCG. It's not easy. It's the DCG. Damn right it is. Here we go. Well said, Mr. Run It. Now, Pearson leading the chase. You see, he's at 4.4. The guys in front need to keep motoring. They can't afford to ease right off here. You got Hutchinson's going to push. Now Hutchinson's together on the climb, as Russ says, and Williams is saying here, this is a real key moment. These 6 need to be smart here. Let's take a look back behind them. Let's see where that chasing group are. They've come round the turn. That group was at 14 seconds coming in. They're not round the leading group riding the corner now. They've just come round behind them. So the chasing group are on to the slopes. They can see them. The distance, this is when the distance is at its minimum. When the speed is at its lowest, it's a chance where you've got the best opportunity to get across the gap. If you can put the power down. Lowe is trying to do this. He's leading the charge behind. The gap's down to 6 seconds now in that leading group. for him. He's only a second or so clear of the rest of the pack, but can he make it? Will it be just a bridge too far? This is the leading group. Look how close they're getting. In the back of the pack, so Russ and Rob Varty need to really rocket it up here. Otherwise, if they don't start winding it up, the pack behind will make contact. It's come down, and now they need to move on. And it's Oliver and Lowe who almost made contact there. What have they got behind? Well, they've got a little bit of a gap, but this is now the riders in front. You can see we have got 6 leading riders. We have 2 riders in no man's land. They're up against 6 riders in front, and they're up against this big pack behind. This is key. Now they've really pushed. They've got to go. Now we go, says Russ. This is the time for them to move, and now they are winding up again. They're going to look to open the gap back up again. They're on 15 seconds to the group, who are closing in on Lowe and Oliver here. The gap from Oliver to the back of the leading group is 12 seconds, and the next chance is going to be on the main climb here. They have motored clear at the front, and this is a decisive gap. It's going to take them in prime position to go up on to the hillside here. They really aren't going to try and push them, try and move as fast as they can. Oh, hello. Looks like the dog's woken himself back up again. You know, buddy. Jumpy dog. Even the excitement's getting to Indy. So here we go. Chasing group. Now going to have to do a regroup and do a little bit of thinking here. Leaders onto the bridge. That gap, they're working hard. That gap is now at 13 seconds back to Trenchard and Dench, who are up on the front of this group. Coos looks right in this mix here. So it looks like Russ, Dale's in there. Looks like Forrester, Pearson, Taylor, Lowe's in there. Squires, unfortunately, after that massive effort, really struggling to stay with that group. Some really strong riders. Distance out of the back here as this chasing group are still holding at a reasonable distance. We'll take a look as we come out from the tunnels. We go onto the hillside, what that gap is. Expect it to open and close quite a lot as we come through the tunnels. The calculations on the system will yo-yo that up and down. At the moment, it's showing consistently about 27 seconds, but I expect that to come down pretty quickly once the main pack have come down into the tunnel as well. See how far down it goes. Now, Dale Williams saying, good luck break. And that's probably a good shout at this stage, because they're going to need everything they can get between here and the summit. They've got to keep this pace right all the way to the top. They know where the summit is. Everybody knows where the top is. You've got to make it up to the summit, and it's just started to rain. Now, this is going to help hide them from the chasing pack. This is the chasing group, and if they keep the pressure on that leading group in front, at least 1 or 2 could well blow on the way up. We've seen riders get caught. We've seen the big pack chase down. We've seen good climbers close a lot more than 20 seconds, and at the moment it's 22 seconds a gap. We've seen quite literally minutes get taken out of the riders on the way through. 22 seconds. That is the gap in between, and we'll let it reform itself there. Just doing a little bit of yo-yoing. I think it's going to start dropping as we go into the climb. The question is going to be who's going to climb up here quickest. We've got some of our youngsters. Looks like Russ going pop, done a lot of work to try and keep that group clear. Now it's going to be left. He's delivered the youngsters onto the hillside here in the shape of Williams, Hutchinson and Lindley. They've got the company of Rob Varty in here. Not one of our younger riders. They've got Williams and Downing, who I think have been just pushed back a little bit here, but Russ not off the pace completely, and those leading riders are going to have to push. So it looks like Varty dropping off the back of that pack. Russ trying to get back in with them, trying to give some assistance, but Williams, Lindley and Hutchinson are in prime spot at the moment. Now, Looks like Dale Williams giving the info up there. They're chasing up 5. Keep it above that, and you should be staying clear. 16 seconds the distance at the moment, just showing you in a little bit on our screens, between 16 and 20 seconds. Still that gap. Wasdale leading the chase. Got Wayne Barr coming up. Wayne with a lot of work at the back earlier on. Looks like Taylor, Trenchard, Hawkins in here. Low in here. Eddie Dench in here as well. Russell Osman. Pearson tucked in here. It's just starting to see a few people get distance. Looks like John Hind just coming in at the back. Dale Williams, after all that early work, just now going to be tapping his way up to the top of the summit. Now Williams at the moment with that push, just starting to move clear of Hutchinson, but he's still got the shadow of Tom Lindley behind him. Williams a very, very fast rider, as is Lindley and Hutchinson. They have to be just to be up there. They are currently motoring, and the gap is opening to Hutchinson. Hutchinson still with 7 seconds to Downing, but this is going to take a bit of doing. So Ryan Williams pushing on at the moment. Lindley right on his heels though here. And I think Tom Lindley benefiting. I mean, they are motoring, doing 27 kph, and at 27 kilometers an hour, there is still going to be some aerodynamic advantage, even though they're on this ascent as they go up the hillside here. So let's see who's going to take this out, who is going to lead the group into the finish here. They're looking good at the moment, but Lindley has the work to do. He's got to try and keep a check on Ryan Williams, and that gap is opening. If you take a look back from Williams, you can just see he's keeping that pressure on. Now, comes in to that right-hand turn. As you can see, we're around the left already. We're onto the right-hand turn. This is the long straight that takes you up into the final sharp right-hand turn that takes you in and through. And Williams has just thrown down the section, so just throws down a feather as he comes into this section. He's got 7 seconds on Lindley at the moment, 12 on Hutchinson. Then it's going to be Downing currently in 4th position, Varty in 5th, Oliver in 6th, Dench in 7th. It's going to be 8th at the moment for Wasdale, and Simon in 9th, Hawkins in 10th. But this is all about this push up, using your pace when it gives you the most advantage. Varty's starting just to try and kick, then repeated sprints on there, just trying to get the most out of that bike. Meanwhile, Williams is continuing to open his gap on Lindley. Lindley at the moment is currently starting to lose a little bit more ground. 15 seconds now, 16 back. Then it's going to be Zach Hutchinson, the youngster, going to be a podium place here, top 3. He's got to hold off Russ down in behind him. And with Zach, one of our real youngsters on the Chaingang. Great to see our youngsters really winding it up. They don't always get courses that suit them. They're at maximum flat-out power. You know, you're not going to see some of our younger riders who could be 35, 40 kilos producing 2,000 plus watts, but they can climb, and boy, do they go uphill quick. And at the moment, with this being the Box Hill finish, one of our classic routes, it was in, I think, pretty much from season 1, once London was introduced as a route. It has been a very popular one, and it's one that in the early part of the season has a habit of breaking the gang. Tonight is shown the very best of the gang. The gang keeping together on the climb on lap 1, holding the group nicely in check, then starting to stretch out the further up the climb they went, and then of course really motoring onwards. And once we got the trigger, well, that's when we saw a great breakaway, and look what it's done. It has provided the platform for Ryan Williams to open up the gap, to make his way in towards the finish. He's only got this easy section on the way down here, so he's going to run his way down and in towards the finish. It's going to be Ryan Williams who's going to lead this in. He's putting another kick in here. He's going to win by some margin now. So coming into the finish here on the Donny Chaingang. Oh, it's 7 more Chaingangs to go, taking away the victory with 7 to go. It is going to be Ryan Williams. There we go. Through he goes now. Next in is going to be Tom Lindley. Lindley making his way through. 3 wins for Tom on the Chaingang, I think, to date, if my memory serves me correctly. A rider who really has grown up and matured on the Chaingang, getting quicker and quicker all the way through. Lindley making his way, and he's going to come through in second place here. Great riding on the climb to go with that group. They've recognised the danger of everybody going clear. Great move, and through for second place goes Tom Lindley. Ryan Williamson, anyone for 2 hours? That's just rubbing it in. Now, third place, Zach Hutchinson. Great ride by young Zach. Comes in and through. He takes the title of young Zach Hutchinson. We had young Tom Lindley. It's now the mantle has been passed to young Zach Hutchinson. Great ride by him. Then it's going to be Russ Downing. Russ, of course, the bear on his way up after tech issues. Going along, really forcing that break clear. Great breakaway, bridged across. He's going to come in and through. It's going to be fourth place. Now behind, it's going to be tight. This is the sprint for the line. It's going to be Vart, who's just held on, who's in that original breakaway. Then it's going to be Phil Oliver, the first of the chasers, in 8th. Wayne Barr in 9th, Eddie Dench in 10th. Then it's going to be, I think, Taylor coming through in 11th place here. So it's going to be Taylor in 11th as he comes in under the gantry. Then it's going to be Mick Hawkins, who's going to come through for 12th. Behind Mick should be Trenchard. So Edward Trenchard's going to be currently in 13th position. He comes in and through the finish. I think Pearson going to be in 14th. Let's see if he can beat his time. So Trenchard on his way up. This time was a 7:32. What's he going to do this time around? And it is going to be, 7:32 coming through on the climb there now. John Pearson comes. Jamie Pearson, so he comes in and through 7:45. It's going to be Russell Osman coming through with a 7:48. Then it's going to be Kooslugs, the next rider in through, followed by Simon Runnett. Runnett with a gap back to Forrester. No, I think it's going to be Hines. So great riding, guys. That second group on the road doing a great job. They've scattered on that hillside, but amazing chase, and to get as close as they did is no mean feat. So Simon heading on to his descent. Remember, the warm down is there. It's 2.5k. Warm down, stretch your legs back in again. John Hind on his way from Bolsover District. He's going to be the next rider. He is going to go through in 19th position. It's going to be Dale Williams after doing all that work in the break. Not surprised you're feeling rough down belt as he comes in. Dale Williams helping that break along, doing a great job of instigating the break and keeping it clear. Mr. Forrester forgot his feather. Oh, but you're kicking yourself now. Right, next in, John Dixon's going through low. It's going to be John Dixon actually comes through. Then it's going to be low. And the two riders together. Then it's going to be Forbes. Mr. Forbes, of course, James Forbes winner on Tuesday on the gang. Let's take a look a little bit further back. Next up is going to be Mr. Catlin. So Steve Catlin is going to be next. So good ride by Steve. He's going to be our next rider into the line. He's been chased by Vin Donahoe and Dick Samuel. And they're going to be pretty close together at 11 seconds down. I think the gap is there, so it's going to be Vince. It's going to get the next one. Then it's going to be Dick Samuel and Keith Richards who are fighting for the line behind. It's going to be Samuel. Then it's going to be Richards. Then it's going to be Doug Main coming through behind. Doug taking 28th. Owen Davis probably going to be our next rider. Cystic fibrosis squad. Currently doing a bit of time on the track and velodrome. It's going to be just ahead of Steve Wilson. And then I think it's going to be Gary Pattinson coming through. Good ride by Gary there. Then Paul Mallins. Ben Coking coming through in under line 33rd for Ben tonight. Going to be followed by Mick Clark. And it's going to be Rich Landmead and John Gale. Gale having Tracy on his heels. So the Terminator 2.0 going to be the next rider underneath the line after John Gale. So Tracy comes through. Next up will be, this is going to be the fight between Andy Keyworth and Dr. D. Dr. D's just putting it down. It is being answered though. Keyworth is holding him, but he's not going to get him. It is going to be Dr. D who goes through. And it's Rowan Dubash goes through ahead of Andy Keyworth. Then it's going to be Nigel Wallace. Paul Hodson, the following rider behind with Bobby Mason and Foxy. I think the two riders behind that. The riders scattered all the way around this hill. This tough course with the 3 ascents definitely sorting the riders out today. So Hudson goes in underneath the gantry. You love to see it when people say, great battle, we had a great fight on the way up now. Bobby Mason just getting overtaken here by Foxy. Foxy in another new kit. I tell you something, Imelda Marcus might have had shoes, but Foxy's got Zwift kits. My goodness me. So it's going to be Foxy, it's going to be Scriven and Canham. So Lisa Jane Late, Paul Scriven and Bobby Mason, the 3 riders in and through. Great to see 3 of our regular riders making their way in underneath the line. Looks like we've got Chris Canham behind, and then it's going to be Chris Lowe. Both Chris's, one with a C, one with a K. And then it should be Keith Richard. That's also okay, but that's a bit more obvious even to me. And I think we're going to see work our way back through our last few runs. Great to see so many of our runners coming in and through the finish, but of course if you just jump on, jump off, it's great too. Love to see our riders jumping on and making the most of the Chaingang. Don't forget, of course, April is the last month, supported by OTE as we come in towards the finale. This is the 7th last one. It's 8 this month, and a great giveaway from OTE with Tim Baggs winning the prize today. So through the line goes Chris Canham. He's going to come in ahead of Chris Lowe. Lowe just ahead of Keith Richards, Sean Ferrer and Jim Flint. And of course our red beacon, which is John Garfer. Come on, Chris. Last push all the way to the gantry, mate. Looks like Chris with a few dropouts on the way around. At that black gantry, that continental gantry, the finishing line here today. A tough old climb on the way in to the finish. But Chris, in those last few hundred meters, you get a nice rundown actually into this gantry, which is really nice. It's a bit deceptive though. If you are sprinting for a race finish, you really need to wind it up on the section coming into that left-hand turn and past the resistance. Otherwise, you don't have enough momentum to kick on from that on this tight turn, because once you come around this left, that gantry comes into sight pretty quick. You don't have much chance then to wind it up. So final kick coming from Chris, nicely done. Chris goes in underneath the line, kicking at 9.5, nearly 10 watts per kilo, I'm sure I saw there. Next up will be Keith Richards, so Keith nicely on the hill, and again onto that flat plateau section. So keeping the pedal spinning, 90 revs per minute on his way up here. Nice smooth pedal cadence as he comes in towards the line. And comes around that left-hand turn. So in he comes, Keith Richards into the finish. Chaingang done. And time to warm down. Next rider is going to be Sean Ferrer with Jim Flint and John Garford, not all that far behind, which is going to give me a little bit of a chance to do a little bit of catch up and some housekeeping. Don't forget, guys, make sure you get registered. If you want to jump in and join on, if you're just watching, you've not had a ride yet, make the most of it before we take a break for the summer. Jump on board. Don't forget, we've got rides on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. You can register to just join a ride. It's free to ride. And that registration opens 25 hours to 1 hour before. We then do some checks, throw out all the spam bots, anybody who's going to rip the ride up. We want people who are going to be taking part. Jump on the ride, stay around yellow till the go point, at which point there are no limits, there are no rules. Just get yourself to the finish as fast or as slow as you want. The red beacon will be rolling its way round on the bus, looking after our riders, and it's a real supportive atmosphere. The aim is that everybody not only enjoys it, but actually improves on the way through. And great to see our riders getting quicker, faster, having a great time and looking after each other. Now, one of our regulars on his way into the line is going to be Sean. You can just see him over there on the side, and Sean making his way in to our finish. Let's jump back across to Sean as he comes in to the finish here, coming in towards that Continental gantry. Continental, one of the key supporters of the gang. And well done to Sean. That's job done for Sean. And not all that far behind, I think we've got Jim Flint and it's going to be John Garfer, two more of our real regular riders on here. So Jim's going to be our next rider coming into the finish. So Jim winding it up as he comes in. John Garfer with that encouragement. Always great to see the chat and the support that the Red Beacons give to our riders. It's a massive job. It's a really tough job physically. You've got to be mentally on the ball, trying to keep up with where all the riders are, and where they find the energy to then support, encourage and motivate the rest of the riders, I don't know, but I tell you something, it's really appreciated, and a massive thank you from myself, from Russ and everybody in the gang, to everyone who's taken on that role. Jim comes in. He's been on that bus with John and keeping the bus rolling through the finish, so well done to Jim. And that means that our last rider on the road is going to be John Garfer. So John on his way through. Thank you very much, John, the Royal Naval Royal Marine Cycling Association rider, on his way through, ditching the Royal Marines kit for the red of Red Beacon this time, and fully colour coordinated. A massive thank you to John and all of our Red Beacons, and you'll have seen tonight, if you are new to the show or the ride, exactly how it's done. So a massive well done to John. We're going to let John roll his way down and get down to the warm down point, which is that blue banner. And whilst he makes his way down, it just leaves me to say thank you very much for joining us here at Full Speed Events for the Donny Chaingang. Don't forget, you can catch up with Russ. It's at Russ Downing. You can find him at Bikeflex, at Downing Cycling, and at Cycle Espresso. Don't forget, of course, you can follow me. It's at Matt Fixer Payne on everything from Instagram to Strava, right the way through to Facebook. We do lots more streaming and lots of and commentary for everything from World Championship UCI events right the way through to esports. Going to be on esports again this weekend. If you want to see what, where, and when, follow at Full Speed Events. You can see it just there at Full Speed Events. Don't forget, of course, the DCG head on shot and of course, the rider who has been DSing a lot of the successful Aeonian squads on Zwift is going to be joining me on the commentary. It's going to be at Biking Emma, and that's on the weekend on Sunday. And that will be Sunday evening if you're on UK time. So you've got time to watch the entirety of Paris-Roubaix and then jump on and catch up with some more racing afterwards if you haven't already had your fill. So from me, Matt Payne, from Russ, enjoy the bank holiday weekend if you're out and riding. Stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.